Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Wednesday, July the 24th. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram, I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. Want to continue my conversation from yesterday about sizing up the Canucks playoff competition. And you might remember yesterday I talked about the teams that they may have to beat out, not only in the Pacific Division, but in the Western Conference overall to get into that playoff spot, that playoff position that us fans, we fans, so badly want for this team for this season. And then it was fitting that this morning, Betonline came out with their over-under, their point totals for over-under betting with respect to all 31 teams in the league. And then, they're not the only betting outfit, they're not the only website or gambling establishment that's going to put these type of odds out, but they're among the first ones. So I thought it would be neat to take a quick look at what they predicted for the Vancouver Canucks and what they predicted for the other teams as well, especially the teams that the Canucks will be chasing, fighting for a playoff spot. So they picked the Vancouver Canucks, the over-under, at 90.5. 90.5 points. And if you're wondering what that was like compared to last year they actually set the line at 77.5 for the Canucks. So a 13-point increase. So they, like many of us, are seeing, at least on paper, how the Canucks should be vastly improved this season when they start playing. So again, a jump from 77.5 last year to 90.5 this season. And you might ask, well, where does that stack up compared to playoff teams from last season? Well, we know that in the Western Conference, Colorado actually got in with 90 points. And then I think Dallas was 91. So those two wildcard teams were 90 and 91 respectively. Whereas over in the Eastern Conference, it was Columbus getting the last wildcard spot, but with 98 points. And then Montreal missed the playoffs, and they had a great season with 96 points. So it's interesting to see how even between the two conferences that there is an 8-point difference between Columbus with 98, getting the last wildcard in the East, and Colorado with only 90, getting the last wildcard in the West. Obviously, there are a lot of factors. It's unpredictable, but it depends how much parity there is in your conference, right? You play your teams, the teams in your division and your conference, more than you play the other side. So a lot of factors, a lot of different things can happen. But in essence, it shows that it's not easy to predict. You can't just say it's 94, 90, or 98 points. It really depends what everyone else is in your division and in your conference is doing. So they pegged the Canucks, the over-under at 90.5. Last year, 77.5. Again, an increase of 13 points. We know that the Canucks did finish with 81 points, and that was a big improvement. It was an 8-point improvement over the previous season. So not the odds increased by the line increases by 13 points. Will the Canucks increase by 13 points to get from 81 to a total in the mid-90s, 92, 93, 94, which is likely what they'll need to get in the playoffs. So interesting that the odds makers see the Canucks as a vastly improved team. The top five, no surprises. Tampa at 108.5, and then after them it goes Tampa, then Toronto, Boston, Vegas, and Colorado, I believe, are the top five, with Nashville then number 6. So again, Tampa and Toronto, Boston, Vegas, and Colorado. No surprises there. Colorado, a big jump, obviously, given that they're the wildcard team from last season, but they look to be the it team, a good team for the next few years. Let's talk about the teams in the Pacific Division, the teams that the Canucks will be chasing. So Vegas is up there with about 100.5, I believe, is the line they set, which seems a little high for me, considering what I talked about yesterday, but it's up there. And then Calgary's at 96.5. And then it's San Jose at 93.5, only 3 points ahead of the Vancouver Canucks. So yesterday I talked about how Calgary might be the untouchable, but it might be Vegas or San Jose that the Canucks could catch for third place, or they can set their sights on. So according to BetOnline, it is indeed the San Jose Sharks in third place in the Pacific with 93.5, only 3 more than the Canucks. The Canucks, however, are tied with Arizona at 90.5. So exactly what I said yesterday. I think Arizona is going to be the stiffest competition for the Canucks from a standpoint of that's the team the Canucks need to beat out. So the odds makers put Arizona tied with the Vancouver Canucks at 90.5 points, and then below them Edmonton, then Anaheim, and then the LA Kings further below the Canucks. So same thing I talked about yesterday, how it's going to be Calgary, San Jose, and Vegas, a combination of those three, and then Vancouver battling Arizona. But what about the other teams in the Central Division? Who else is going to be competition? Well, according to these odds makers, it's going to be tough because you have 5 teams from the Central above the Vancouver Canucks. You have, of course, Nashville, St. Louis, Dallas, Colorado. Oh, let's do that again. You have Colorado, you have Nashville, you have St. Louis, you have Dallas, and you have Winnipeg at 95.5, 5 points up on the Canucks. So you have those 5 teams. And then at 90.5, also tied with Vancouver, also tied with Arizona, you have the Chicago Blackhawks. And then Minnesota Wild are the only team in the Central that are predicted to be, you know, underneath the Vancouver Canucks, below the Canucks. So really, that's going to be tough then, according to these odds makers, is you have 5 teams from the Central above Vancouver, and then Chicago tied with Vancouver and tied with Arizona at 90.5. So that means, you know, add in the 3 from the Pacific, add in the 5 from the Central that are above the Canucks. Those are 8 teams right there. So the Canucks are going to have to not only beat out Arizona and Chicago, who they're deemed to be equal with, but one of those other teams to make sure that they get in the playoffs. So what do you think, Canucks fans? Do you think that 90.5 is too high? I don't think anyone's going to say it's too low, because that's, like I said, that would be basically a 10-point jump over the actual from the 81 point total for the Vancouver Canucks, and it's 13 points more than this betting outfit you predicted for the Vancouver Canucks last season. So do you think the 90.5 is too high, or do you think it's realistic, given everything that we talked about, the improvements the Canucks have made up front, on D, and then hopefully counting on some consistent and solid goaltending from Markstrom and from Demko? So 90.5, do you like it? Do you not like it? And if you're a betting person, would you bet above? Would you bet over or under that 90.5 line? And ultimately, all this is pointing to is, will the Vancouver Canucks make the playoffs? The same conversation that we had yesterday. So Canucks fans, leave a comment below. I'd love to know what you think. 90.5, too high, too low? Are you betting over? Are you betting under? And most importantly, will the Vancouver Canucks match that total, exceed that total, and get in the playoffs as a wild card spot, or even as 3rd place in the Pacific Division? Leave a comment. I love to read, react, reply as always. Subscribe if you like to, like this video if you like to. Enjoy the day. God bless. Go Canucks, go.